second day of the foundation with the ICF blocks, and so our rebar has just shown up, and so we are now ready to start placing the rebar in our first row of block. So I'm going to turn around here so you can see. That's the owner of the company up there. He's brought the rebar, and the gentlemen are going to bring it down to the job site here. We'll walk around here and show you how the rebar starts to get placed. They will begin the rebar on this horizontal, and we're going to set it in these chairs. Right now he's going to be working on this block out here, this little section for our interior wall here that is actually going to be load bearing for the light deck that's going to be up here for the garage. So he's working on this little corner right here. Down here you can see the rebar will sit in that middle prong, so that's for the chair that goes across there. So a little trick for all the guys when they're working of how much rebar goes in, what length, corners, all that. Little trick here is to go ahead and measure and then mark it on your actual form of what you need, so the guys can walk around. They don't have to pull a tape and have the full runs in the certain sections. So if you have a 20-foot long piece here, you can put it there, and then it just magically lines up perfectly on the other end. So you can see here we got a 2-foot here and a 10-foot there. This will make it really fast when the rebar shows up. These guys don't have to go back and do all the measurements. They can just walk around and look and say, hey, I need a 5-footer, I need a 10-footer, and have it cut over at the cutting station and bring it over, and it just keeps moving. Just keep rolling, keep moving. So after this row of rebar gets placed in, they brought in all the block for today's work, and they'll start stacking those like Legos, and then start the process over again. Lay more rebar horizontally, and then we'll get up so high, and then you can start doing the vertical, and they'll do the tying as we start coming up, tie them all together so they don't shift around when the concrete starts to drop in. Next, this little preview of what's going to happen next when we start putting all the rebar in these pieces, and you got to hook the vertical with the horizontals together. They'll be next to each other, but you don't want them to move. Well, how do you do that? I'll show you how to do that. So let's say we have 2 pieces of rebar. They're going to be, say they intersect like this, right? And you want to keep them from moving in any direction like that. So the way that works is you have this little tool. You have this piece right here. So what this is called a wire tie. So you put one end, let's see if I can hold this and do it at the same time, bend it, and you go around it like that, put that guy in there, and this tool has an offset, so when you rotate it, right, I'll hold this, like that's, and then you rotate it and you just keep going, and what is done is now it's tied. And it's metal in there, so it won't corrode, and it'll actually be part of the whole system. And that is how the rebar is tied together. All right, so the company that we're using is going to be ICF Walls of the Ozarks. And this company is really impressive. The owner, his name's David, he was actually right here on site, is he's about as hands-on as it can get, and he is always looking for a more efficient and better way to build this. Especially that whole deal with the monolithic pour, with the foundation and the footer. So I'm going to turn around and let you guys watch David at work. What he's going to do right now is he's going to set the rough openings for the windows and the doors, and he'll mark it on the forms here so these guys know where everything needs to sit and where the openings need to happen. So turn around. So you can see down here, David's going to be marking the edges of the window openings and the door openings. And then over here, have the guys that are cutting the rebar, and then you can take that tool and go the other direction, and it'll be the bending. So you can see here, he's going to stick it in the back side of it and grab it. Let's see if I can zoom up for you. There we go. Then you bend it, pull it the other way, just like that, and then there's your bend. So you can bend it at a 90 or a 45 or a 33 1/3 or a 12 or whatever it might be. You can bend it there by hand. Takes a little bit more muscle power, but you just keep moving right along. Just put in one at a time, and it's a nice slick little way to do it. Never runs out of gas. You can see down here where he's going to be setting this rebar corner. You can see there. If I can zoom up for you. The rebar fits down in there. And then over here, this is how the forms come in these almost like a pallet and just bound together. He'll cut them. Once he gets them over, it looks like he's going to probably walk this set over here for this section, so he doesn't have to try to carry them all at one time. Okay, so I will show you some of the openings that they're now starting to cut. They're using a sawzall to cut the styrofoam and the plastic chairs that hold everything together, and it's just so impressive to watch. One, the ease of it, but the other one is the speed of it. And the guys are still cutting rebar and stacking. So down here, that is the bottom of the window, right there. There's a door opening. That'll be right there. David has another one. There'll be another. Put my finger out here. Where's my finger? Can't even see it. And it'll be over there in that area somewhere. Oh, there's my finger. It'll be down that area there. Zoom back out. So, what we'll do is let them get a couple of rows put in, and then I'll check back with you guys and show you the progress. Remember me talking to you a little bit about planning things out about how the next trade, the next items. This whole area right here is going to be where the is going to be my field for the septic lines, and so that's going to be the last item that I will do and put in because of the heavy equipment backfill. I don't want to damage anything, but what it is really nice for right now is what's called a laydown area, and it's for all the staging of the material that goes on. It is at a slope, but it's a nice place that they can dump the stuff. The guys can come over, quickly grab it, take it back over like this, versus it being down here or up the hill somewhere where we have these long periods of back and forth where our production rate goes way down because we're having to walk back and forth and walk back and forth. So it's been a couple of days since it's rained really hard, and I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to be like, why did you put so much rock back in the ground? You could have just dug the trenches for the footer areas, left all that other stuff. Sorry, I just climbed back up the hill as I'm out of breath. So I've been looking around here, and this is after 2 days of heavy rain, and I'll show you why. This is just water seeping out of the ground in different sections. There's another one over there. So now after looking at this, I absolutely am glad that I did that, that I had that much room of crushed limestone for the water to go under and into my French drain that's way down in there, and then drains out way below grade. So when I was doing it, kind of burned a little bit, thinking I'm gonna have a little bit of overkill in what I've done. But now, after seeing the rain and knowing that I won't have any problems under my slab or any part of my foundation of it lifting with the hydrostatic pressure or seepage from under the slab, or maybe in the corners or anything like that, or when in the summer when it starts to dry out and it wants to fall, I won't have any of those problems. So it feels pretty good to look at it and to see that, you know what, you've done it the right way. Another neat deal with this ICF is the lack of waste generated. We have some cardboard for the packaging, and you have some little remnants and pieces, you know, of them cutting them out. But for the most part, you don't have a job site that is just littered with trash and 2x4s that have been cut and left over because you might be at, I don't know, 6 feet and you have an 8-footer and you have leftover of 2 feet, and maybe you'll get to use it for some blocking or anything like that. But there's a lot of leftover with stick built that we will not have in this ICF. I brought my little boy out here to see what he thinks today. What do you think, big man?
Wow, it's crazy.
Isn't that beautiful? Can you believe that how fast these guys are working?
Like, that's just in a few days.
I know it. So we'll reveal what 2 days of work since the last time we filmed, and here we go. So let's go down here and take a look, and we'll walk through the building. Oops, sorry about that. We'll walk through the building a little bit. Now we are in the basement, and I think you can get kind of a feel of what it's going to look like. So the floor will be up at this level right here, and take a look around. We stacked the rest of these pieces inside here, so because we had a storm coming in and we didn't want the stuff to blow off. We'll do some zooming up here, show you how all this goes together. Take a peek in here, and you can see the horizontal runs of the rebar. Make a turn here, some more horizontal runs as they make the turn here, and you can see how the blocks are connected together. And we'll go on the outside, and these are more of the pieces for bracing to make the walls nice and straight. And then we'll have bracing on these that go back down towards the ground once we come up a little bit higher. We were talking about this blocking, so it connects the block from below and above and side to side. So there's a joint right here that connects those two blocks, and then this block here runs all the way across. So you almost stack it like a Lego or a brick so that you don't have vertical seams. So I'll scoot back. You can see the seam for that one, then it's staggered here, and then it is back to the same. So you don't have any pieces that have a vertical connection that is back to back. I'm going to show you guys on the bag system that we were talking about for the foundation to fit in, and hopefully I can explain this a little bit better for you now that it's connected. So the bag is down here, and it runs the full length, and when it fills up with concrete, it'll spread out, and that'll be our footer. Now inside here is the rebar, but this bag goes continuously all the way around, and that is where we're going to get that monolithic pour with no cold joint, no slipping, so we don't have any problems where the wall meets the footer. I'm sure some of you guys are going to have questions of, okay, well I can understand the straight runs, but what happens when you get to a corner? This is a good question, and I'll show you. They make specific corner pieces here that are sewn right there to make a 90-degree turn, and they come back to about here. This bag slides in on that side and it's taped back up in there, but when the concrete lands on it, it pushes it out and it seals itself so that none of the concrete runs out.